What if, just what if, Instagram, TikTok, the bulk of social media went away? And heck, we even went back to MySpace days. At least that's how I remember social media was up and coming. And I never thought I would say this, but this is the point where you say during my time. So during my time, MySpace was like the thing to do. In fact, before MySpace, there used to be this app called Vine or the Vine, right? Which more or less is kind of like the mainstream version of Snapchat today. So there were elements and remnants of technology back in the day, which is nearly 20 years ago or so. And I remember MySpace not being such a bad thing after all. Like, we still had to go out there in the public place, and if we had a crush on a girl, right? If we wanted to meet someone, talk to someone, we didn't use social media as a way to set up these meetups, right? I think we were just beginning to somewhat get there. I think we were all just excited to have MySpace, and back then it was just kind of an outlet, but we hadn't quite figured out the power and the reach, the influence it could have. And I believe right after that, or right in tandem and rhythm, Facebook happened. And I got a first taste of what social media could be like when it comes to dating, cheating, lying, going behind the back, right? Infidelity. It was during those times when I actually realized and started seeing what it could be. Fast forward where we are today in 2025, well, we know how that's going, right? And I think for that very reason, there are some people like myself that are now erring on the side of caution and maybe considering to quit social media altogether. YouTube is a bit different. YouTube is a different platform. It has a different audience. You can actually genuinely, I believe, connect with other YouTubers on this platform with like-minded interests and missions and unique channel brands and branding and causes that people stand for. And it's a little bit more less attention draining per se. Like, you're viewing something, but it's very intentional is what how I would put it. It's more meaningful. So YouTube in that sense is not the typical social media platform, albeit it is a platform. But I remember my ex-girlfriend during that time got me hooked on Facebook. And the way this came about is she was already talking to other guys. And it's the first time I realized that I had to be more than my looks. I had to be more than my dance background. Me being as an artist in my prime, even, right? I wasn't in that really good of a shape then. I had a little bit of a gut, actually, and alcohol weight, right? I talk about this. But I realized that I had to be more. And I realized how she's going to leverage social media, aka Facebook at that time, to court other guys, to have other orbiters around her, right? And so I quickly, as a reaction, joined Facebook. And I thought, MySpace, you couldn't get better than MySpace. Heck, we all love Tom, right? But Tom was smart. Tom was smart. Tom sold MySpace for well over 20 million, I think. Maybe 100 million. I don't remember. Tom has lived happily ever after. Tom has disappeared into the sunsets. Although my suspicion is he is working still silently behind the scenes, because remember, he was one of the pioneers of what we're seeing tenfold all over the internet, globally and domestically. So once again, the algorithms, hashtags, and what we click on, what we scroll on now has been filtered through not just decades worth of technology and user information and profiles, but information that has been shared over decades and decades. Now you take that and amplify with machine learning, AI, and state-of-the-art 2025 technology. We have in front of us something called a tech machine, as I would describe it, almost taking over your soul, messing with your mental health, increasing your anxiety level. These are things that I have felt using Instagram and not so much TikTok, although I have a TikTok account, but Instagram in particular. It has somehow entrapped me to overshare my life. And as I look back at all my posts, I actually put both my personal page, my branding, personal awareness artist page, and my fitness page on private right now. I go in and out of privacy modes because as I look back on it, and as I am making this channel, right, making my own content and revelations, it is changing me as a person. It is also changing my perspective and outlook in life, with life, and toward life completely. And I'm not the same person. So when I revisit some of my earlier posts, and this dates back to even last year, 2024, I am not the same guy. I am not the same person. Character-wise, I've completely switched. Like, I have done a complete 360. This, there is something called consumerism or consumption of too much material that it got me to a point, not so much the comparisons game, because I think I'm pretty decent in what I have to offer and, making it look like I'm living the life. I have some material things in that regard. Not a boat, not the yacht life, none of that, but it's decent enough. It's better than average, let's just say that. And then when you are in the music space, the entertainment niche, acting, with the lights, camera, action, there's an over exaggeration of what your life is versus what your life really is. And what people are seeing are really highlight reels and a snippet of the best possible peak moment of that day, of that moment, right? And we capture that and we post it. But people don't know how much work went on behind the scenes for us to gather that footage, do the edits and cuts, and find the best pieces of that footage, and only to post a picture or two or a 7-second clip and YOLO and post. Boom, that's it. And we want people to believe that that's who we are every single day, 24 hours a day. And your life is always on that high vibe frequency mode. We don't share really the bad times. We don't share the dark hours, right? Instagram is essentially a cheat code for living a fake life. I really got nothing positive to say outside of what I just said, because I have been right in the middle of falling victim to that for decades. And obviously some will say, well, you've already lived nearly 50 plus years or so. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I was feeling all these feelings when I was involved in the activity itself. When I overshared, I felt a piece of my soul dying. And I was so addicted to post. I was so addicted to posting every aspect and element of my life that I started losing control of how my life really was. So I was more in tune with keeping up with that persona online versus how my life really was. And most people won't admit it, guys. No one's life is really put together. No one's life is as good as that moment, that highlight reel. It's definitely real for that moment because we have done everything we can to tee it up on a perfect, platter of, appetizers and hors d'oeuvres and, cheese and wine, and here you go. Boom, done. That part is true. But see, there are 23 hours in a day and the other 59 minutes, 24 hours in a day. Most times, in today's day and age, most people are depressed. Most times, most people are depressed even after they get the initial dopamine hit, that initial, I want it now. I want to feel good now. I must share this now. Which is why when you share something, your intimate details about life, your relationship, life's journey, progress, every single win, not the losses, every single win, right? And when you hit post and you don't get that validation like you thought you would, you start feeling that shame, the guilt, the abandonment, right? As if like, why did I share all that, for what and why? I mean, I've also been in that position where I've gone and deleted that same post months later or a year later. So I do a what we call like taking stock, taking inventory. When you do a look back on your social media profile, your posts, we tend to, some of us, at least I do, as I began recently to clean up shop, clean up my mess, and come to terms with the fact that I'm not the same person anymore. And this embarrassment sort of creeps in as to, damn, what was I thinking? Why did I share that? Even when I was dating my Colombian girlfriend, there was a lot of material, pictures, and even intimate moments, nothing like bedroom moments, but I'm thinking like stuff that I was doing in my kitchen, intimate meals and sharing food together in my home and sharing all of that by the pool. Like I don't know why some of it probably was my fault, and it's not all her fault, but I could have pushed her away by oversharing, but she was liking it at the same time, but we were both confused as to why are we doing this again, you know? So I think what happens is a lot of times what we have in front of us, we literally take it for granted by giving so much of it away in real time to social media that we forget that at the end of the day, 99% of the time, we have to deal with ourselves, our emotions, and each other, and genuinely build relationships. And this is where I think that social media, YouTube, is the best place to be versus Instagram. Instagram makes you overshare. And I already knew this 2 years ago. I've actually had a love-hate relationship with Instagram for 2 years. I've been trying to quit forever and a day. And this is again probably my third time in my life where I've come here and landed and trying to figure out which direction I want to go. But I think I already know the answer. That, back 20 something years ago, Tom had it right. And I think MySpace, Facebook even, they weren't so bad after all. Today, social media is on 4.0 steroids, like 4.0, and it's on steroids. And you can't escape it. Every way you look, you're consuming people's lives. I've had to tune out family. I've had to tune out my own brother. And it's not personal, but I came to realize, like, why am I consuming someone else's? I didn't move from California to Las Vegas, Nevada, only to stay in touch with someone's everyday life, including my family. Like, that's not really growth. That's keeping me stagnant, and it's stealing my present moment and my present joy and my focus when it comes to building my life right in the present. Social media had me trying to keep up with my next post and the next post and the next dopamine hit. And I've already given my girlfriend lavish experiences, right? And now I have to one up my post from the one prior, otherwise I'm going to fall short of maintaining a look, right? And I'm being very transparent about this, guys. I hope you can appreciate it. Oversharing is what these platforms are designed to do. And at the end of the day, these big corporations, right, are all talking to each other and they exchange you information. It's not too far remiss to say that people can put two and two together to figure out where you live. right? If I'm doing this, guys, sorry, it's a lot of allergies, and this is closer to 8 o'clock right now, so it's almost a triple digits. But obviously, it's a nice sunset here, way past sunset actually, right at the tipping point. So, going back to my statement earlier and how I started this video is, I think we're kind of reaching a peak point in social media and how people are using it, abusing it, and honestly, how some people are deciding to tune out and not log on anymore. I barely go on Instagram. Today is Kobe Bryant's birthday. He would have been 47 years old. And that got me thinking a little bit, like it's been over 5 years since he passed. And when I saw that post come up today, I posted about it and I wished him rest in peace, happy birthday. It still hurts, and it does. But that's how quickly this thing ages. You post one thing and a tribute, and it's over, just like that. Now, there are some positives, of course. It's not all dark and blurry, but I would challenge us to review our social media habits, right? How much are we sharing? How often are we using? How we scroll before bed, in the morning, right? You see that heart, red, like, comment. It's a dopamine hit. I've been there. Don't trust me. Don't get me wrong. I don't care if you're still, I wouldn't judge you if you're still doing it, because it took me nearly half a century to get to this point, to realize how much control it had over me. You know, part of detoxing of Instagram and really minimizing my scroll time on there has allowed me to build a good relationship with myself. It has enhanced my ability to speak and not stutter so much. It's allowed me to interview better certain jobs, meeting people, and it's improved my confidence, because you got to connect with people. I think it's easier today to break the code and hack the code of walking up to a girl or whatever you're into, asking that person out, is because it's a cheat code. If you can talk to people, if you can go up and randomly, if I was to hang you over a building with a rope and say, you're gonna say hi to her, otherwise I'm gonna drop you, right? Extreme. You would. Think about this perspective, right? How hard is it to walk up to someone and say, hi, I am so and so, my name is this, what's your name, and make conversation and just be okay to be rejected? I would challenge you to try it, because you'd be surprised at the results you get. You're not going to meet new people, you're not going to make new connections and make authentic, real life connections, even in your dating world, your dating progress, if you don't put the phone down. The other day I was walking at Resorts World, saw this beautiful girl. I didn't have the phone in my hand. We looked dead right on at each other. She smiled, I gave a good smile, continued walking. There's a good chance I'm going to go back the following week when I'm working during my break and go out there again and ask her out. And I'll let you know how that goes. So why do I say all of this? To land the plane on this video is that I think social media has redefined and almost negatively influenced this culture that we live in today. Not to mention the infidelity, the cheating, right? All of the relationship infidelities that happen really begin on the internet. And it's really a dating app. And it favors mostly, the opposite sex, women. It's really not for guys, it's for women. The courtship, right? You are one flight away. You are one DM away from the next best suitor out there. Because I am not the best in the business. I'm not the best looking guy. I'm not the youngest man on the planet. But I am better than average. I know that. But there's always someone better. And your girl will always have that ability and accessibility. Most guys, we're not in the 1%, 10% men. We're not in that club. I'm not really a 1% man. I don't fall into that millionaire category. but I have a niche of my own where I do well. So it's easy for her to monkey branch on to the next thing. It'll always be there, guys. For that very reason, I am making a conscious effort to build whatever relationships I can and connections through just being myself and not scrolling on social media and being somewhat of a mystery, really. Being disconnected from family, not knowing how everyone is doing and what they're up to, consuming their every single day, them taking a shit in the bathroom or their next meal, right? I have fiend off stories. I've muted different friend group stories so that Instagram doesn't default me into viewing their stories, because believe it or not, we are that petty these days where we get upset that so and so hasn't viewed my story, so I'm not going to view his or her story. Friending, unfriending, and then coming back to your page and then snooping on your profile even after you've unfriended them. This is human psychology at its finest. This is manipulation. This is all of these behaviors is demonstrating how humans work. How miserable are we? How low have we scooped, right? Like there's no regard and respect for relationships, genuine relationships. Having a dialogue like this, you know, if I was still scrolling and addicted to the dopamine there, I wouldn't be knocking out content like this. I wouldn't have the freedom to express and work on my vocabulary, my English, you know, taking a chance and putting myself out there, fighting anxiety, putting myself in front of camera. YouTube, I think, is where it's at. If you want to heal, if you want to face your demons, if you want to connect with people, putting yourself out there, I've never felt safer, better, more secure than YouTube. I mean, I'm in Las Vegas. It's only 8 o'clock right now. I could easily go home within an hour, hour and a half. I could be looking on point with the right dress code. I could be out on the strip. But it's a choice. I don't want to do that. I'm actually looking forward to dimming my lights and getting ready for sleep therapy, which is sleep. And I'm smiling because I love my sleep. This is why I have good skin, right? Skin health is important. Growth hormone, testosterone, recovery. You build muscle, all of this in your sleep. Corporate work, 9 to 5, is already stressful. But in order to set yourself free and set yourself up for success and your side hustles, in order for them to thrive and blossom, outside of my 9 to 5, this is how I like to spend my time. Saturday and Sunday. Okay? Hopefully this inspires you. And until the next video, guys, I want to keep talking, but I got to cut it here. Crossing the road. But until the next video, be safe, follow your dreams, be mindful of social media scrolling, and just remember, if it's causing you anxiety and if you're feeling some sort of a way, racing heartbeat, heart palpitations, you're fine. You're okay. It's just your habit with social media. You need to take a break. You need to detox and shut it down for a little bit until you recover and find yourself. Okay? Till the next video, guys. Mamba out.